Have you ever felt like you're trapped in a dark tunnel with no end in sight? We've all been there, haven't we? Those moments when the world seems to weigh heavy on our shoulders, when the sun seems to have forgotten to rise and all we see, all we feel is darkness. This, my friends, is the face of depression. It's a struggle that many of us know all too well, a battle that is often fought in silence and solitude. But let me tell you something, it doesn't have to be that way. You see, we have an untapped source of strength and comfort that can help us face these challenges head on. It's not a magic potion or a quick fix. It's something much more profound, much more enduring. It's the wisdom and solace that God gives us through His Word. Now you might be thinking, how can words written thousands of years ago possibly help me with my struggles today? Well, that's the beauty of it. These words, these verses, they speak to the human condition, to our shared experiences of pain, struggle, and yes, even depression. They offer a timeless message of hope, resilience, and inspiration that can guide us through the darkest of times. Today we're going to explore 5 transformative Bible verses that have been a beacon of hope for many who have found themselves lost in the darkness of depression. These verses are not just words on a page, they are lifelines, guiding lights that can lead us towards a brighter tomorrow. So let's embark on this journey together. Let's delve into this timeless wisdom and let it nourish our souls and strengthen our resolve, because no matter how daunting the darkness may seem, there's one thing we must never forget. But remember, even in the darkest tunnels, there's always a light at the end. The power of faith. Drawing inspiration from the teachings of Gospel Matthew 17:20, we delve into the captivating essence of faith. The scripture says, "Truly I tell you, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you." This profound statement encapsulates the formidable might that faith as tiny as a mustard seed holds. The power to shift mountains, to make the impossible possible, is what faith can do when it dwells within us earnestly. Such a profound expression of belief can transcend all limitations, leaving no room for the word impossible. The Bible, a source of infinite wisdom, offers us solace in Psalm 34:17-18. Now let's journey back to the era of King David, the author of Psalm 34. King David was no stranger to hardship and despair. He was pursued by his enemies, betrayed by his loved ones, and at times he felt completely alone. Yet amidst all these trials, he held on to his faith. This faith is encapsulated beautifully in the verse, "The righteous cry out, and the Lord hears them. He delivers them from all their troubles. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." Let's unpack this verse. It begins with, "The righteous cry out, and the Lord hears them." This is a powerful reminder that when we're in distress, when we're at our lowest, we are heard. Our cries of anguish do not fall on deaf ears. They reach the Lord, who is always listening, always caring. The verse then assures us that the Lord delivers them from all their troubles. This doesn't mean we won't face difficulties. It means that through faith, we can navigate these challenges, not alone, but with the Lord by our side. Finally, the verse comforts us with the knowledge that the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. When we're heartbroken, when our spirit feels crushed, the Lord is there. He doesn't distance himself from our pain. Instead, he draws near, offering his strength and comfort. Faith then becomes a powerful tool in our arsenal against despair. It provides us with the strength to persevere, to continue fighting, even when the odds seem stacked against us. It reminds us that we are not alone in our struggles, that there is a greater power at work, offering solace and hope. So even when the world seems to be collapsing around us, we're not alone. Finding comfort in times of distress can seem difficult, but Matthew 11:28-30 extends a comforting message. Picture this, a man named Jesus, filled with compassion and understanding, extending an open invitation. He says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." The beauty of this verse is in its universal appeal. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, or what you're going through. If you're tired, if you're burdened, if you're at the end of your rope, there's a place for you, there's rest for you. But the invitation doesn't end there. Jesus continues, "Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls." Imagine that, a yoke that doesn't weigh you down but instead offers rest. A master who doesn't lord over you but is gentle and humble. In ancient times, a yoke was a wooden beam placed on the necks of two animals, usually oxen, so they could work together. This metaphor of a yoke might seem strange to us today, but think about it. We all have yokes, we all carry burdens, we all have something that weighs us down. And here's Jesus saying, "Take my yoke upon you." It's not a command but an offer. An offer to share your burden, to shoulder your load. An offer to teach you, to guide you. An offer to give you rest. And then comes the promise, "For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light." It's not about removing all challenges or troubles from our lives, it's about sharing the load, making it lighter. This verse encourages us to seek solace in faith, to find comfort in the promise that we are not alone in our struggles, that there is someone who understands, who cares, and who is willing to share our burden. In the midst of turmoil, there is a refuge, a place of rest. It's not about escaping the storm, but finding peace within it. It's about knowing that even in the darkest night, there's a beacon of hope, a source of comfort, a promise of rest. When it feels like all hope is lost, Jeremiah 29:11 reminds us of God's promise. Imagine being in a state of despair where it seems like the darkness is all there is and all there ever will be. It's in these moments that the verse from Jeremiah 29:11 can shine like a beacon in the night. "For I know the plans I have for you," declares the Lord, "plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." This verse, spoken by God to the Israelites in exile, is a powerful reminder of his unwavering commitment to his people. But it's not just a message for those ancient times, it's a universal promise, one that reaches across the centuries and whispers reassurances into the hearts of anyone who has ever felt lost or alone. The context of this verse is crucial. The Israelites were in a state of despair, feeling abandoned and forgotten. But God, through his prophet Jeremiah, reassured them that their current circumstances were not the end of their story. God had plans for them, plans for prosperity and not harm, plans for a hope and a future. And so it is with us. When we're in the midst of our own personal exile, when it feels like our dreams have been shattered and our hopes dashed, this verse reassures us that our present circumstances are not the end of our story. God has plans for us, plans for good and not for disaster, plans to give us a future filled with hope. This verse reassures us that no matter what adversity we face, we are never alone. We are never forgotten, and our story isn't over. It's a promise that instills hope, a hope that doesn't depend on our current circumstances, but on the unwavering love and faithfulness of God. Remember, there's always a promise of a brighter tomorrow. Trials and tribulations can seem overwhelming, but James 1:2-4 assures us of the triumph that comes through trials. Let's take a moment to explore the depth of this verse and the profound message it holds. The book of James, nestled in the New Testament, is a letter believed to have been written by James, the brother of Jesus. In this letter, he addresses the early Christian community, imparting wisdom and guidance as they navigate the challenges of their faith. This verse, James 1:2-4, is one such jewel of wisdom, a beacon of hope in the face of adversity. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds. This opening statement may seem contradictory at first. How can one find joy in the midst of trials? But James isn't suggesting that we celebrate the pain or hardship. Instead, he's encouraging us to shift our perspective, to see the trials not as barriers, but as catalysts for personal growth and spiritual fortitude. Because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Here, James is reminding us that trials are not meant to break us, but to build us. They test our faith, pushing us to dig deeper, to hold on tighter, to persevere. The trials we face are like the refining fire, purifying gold. They remove the impurities of doubt and fear, leaving behind a faith that is stronger and more resilient. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. The final portion of this verse underscores the ultimate purpose of our trials. They lead us to a place of maturity, completeness. Through perseverance we grow, we evolve, we become more mature in our faith, complete in our understanding, and lack nothing in our spiritual journey. So when you find yourself in the midst of trials, remember this verse. Remember that trials are not the end, but the beginning. They are the start of a journey towards growth, maturity, and completeness. In every trial, there's a chance for transformation. These verses are not just words, but a lifeline in times of distress. In the course of our spiritual journey, we've discovered the transformative power of God's Word. These verses have been a beacon of hope in our darkest hours and a source of strength when we felt weak. Let's take a moment to reflect on the key points from each verse. Firstly, we learned about the power of faith from Matthew chapter 17, verse 20. It taught us that faith, even as small as a mustard seed, could move mountains. This verse encourages us to keep faith alive in our hearts, for it's the key to overcoming life's biggest challenges. Next, we found solace in the assurance that we are never alone, even in the depths of despair. The verse from Psalm 34, verse 17 reminds us that when the righteous cry for help, the Lord hears and delivers them out of all their troubles. The third verse from 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 16 to 18 instructed us to focus not on what is seen, but what is unseen. For what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal. It's a profound reminder to look beyond our current struggles and keep our eyes on the eternal reward. The promise of hope from Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11, reassured us that God has plans to prosper us and not to harm us, to give us hope and a future. This verse is a powerful affirmation that our current trials are not the end, but a stepping stone to a better future. Finally, the verse from James chapter 1, verses 2 to 4, urged us to consider it pure joy when we face trials of many kinds, for the testing of our faith produces perseverance. These verses should be kept close to our hearts, serving as a source of strength and comfort, guiding us through our journey. Remember, in every dark night, there's a brighter day ahead. Keep the faith, hold on to hope. Until next time, troops, pick up your cross and continue to fight the good fight. And remember, you have Christ on your side.
God